are listening to Bearcat Insider with everybody's favorite assistant coach Travis Marsh, and I'm Chance Kirby. Now to the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the CS Designs postgame show, Paradise Edition. We had 2 tickets to Paradise, and we definitely cashed them both in.
We did.
So, if you're listening to this show, that means that you probably either watch the game or have some kind of interest in the Bearcats. And so, it was a 48-34 loss to the Paradise, which drops us to 0-2 in district and 1-5 on the season.
That's correct.
But hope is not lost yet.
No.
We need to win 3. If we go 3-1 in the next 4 games, I don't want to guarantee that we're in because there's some fuzzy, weird things that can happen. But you're almost guaranteed a spot if you go 3-1 in the next 4 games.
Yeah, but this is a rebuild year, and I think that what we need to focus on this year really, because it's a new staff. I mean, we have new offensive coordinators and new head coach and new defensive coordinator. I think what the focus should be is are we improving? And we're most definitely improving. And so when you're looking at and you're saying, hey, let's make the playoffs, I don't know if that was even the goal. I think that the goal is improvement in a rebuild year. And there's no question that that's what we're doing. I saw more improvement this week than I've seen in a while. I mean, we competed, we fought hard, and this is the first time that
Is this our highest point output of the season?
It definitely 34. Is. Yeah.
With the previous high being 21 or 20 at Calsburg?
20 the first week, yeah.
So, we're plus 2 touchdowns from week 1. Obviously, I think you have to throw out the Plainview result offensively for sure, but then as well defensively because snap counts and you got weird stuff going on.
I don't like that's an anomaly or an outlier.
Yeah, I don't think you really. I mean, of course, it's a loss, and we're not trying to throw out the results of the game, but I think all of the data associated with the game is an outlier.
I mean, we had a preseason show discussing this very situation. I mean, all the prognosticators said we would be right here where we are. And then when we discussed that in August,
there's a possibility that they overrated us.
Yeah, and so then that's what I'm saying. When you look at where we were in that discussion in August and where we are now, and we questioned, well, why did this happen? And we both agreed with everybody else. Well, again, you have a new staff, and it's some new philosophies, and there's things that they have to learn. And so when you're in a rebuild and you're looking for improvement, and we had it this week. I mean,
it reminds me of my Baylor fandom.
It always goes back to Baylor.
Well, maybe not in the sense that you think it's going to go to, or recent University of Texas. It's the turnover of a new staff. It seems like all the time, and you hope that you improve enough to save the staff that's there. And I remember over the years where, from Grant Taft, who was a legendary coach at Baylor in the old Southwest Conference, and then you transition to a bunch of 3-year coaches. It's tough. Rebuilding's tough.
Yeah.
And it's not always successful. So I think that the measure now is how much do we improve over the course of the season, but how much are we going to improve between year 1 and year 2 of this new staff?
Well, and I think I've been pleasantly surprised with the community, actually. I'm looking on Facebook and seeing what people are saying about the Bearcats, and the community's been surprisingly understanding and has realized that maybe the focus this year isn't wins and losses. It's turning it into something that they want it to be and recognizing improvement and try over.
So you anticipated it to be like Dr. Frankenstein with torches and pickaxes and pitchforks and burn it down, and
I do. That's the town that I grew up in, and I mean it's not now, and I know
that's how we've handled unsuccess. What is the word? Failure? I don't want to say failure. That seems awfully extreme.
I do remember an instance where there were torches and pitchforks, and at that team, we were At week 6, I think it was 5-1. So yeah, we've come a long way. Well, I can't quote that advertising campaign. So we've come a long way, baby. We've come a long way in 20 years as far as how we're handle new coaches and new direction and rebuilds. And I think we're looking at it.
Do you think
more,
that's with the changing community?
No, I think that's the changing world.
Okay, so just because the power players that pulled strings 20 years ago, are they no longer power players, or are they no longer pulling strings?
I just think I think that the world has changed. When you're in a rebuild and you have a new staff, we have 2 new coordinators and a new head coach, that's what you have to look for. You need to look for improvement. Are we growing and moving towards? It's weird. I sound like things that you normally say. Are we working towards our goals? And I think in the it's weird because you actually are an insider, but in the dark recesses of the staff's mind, was it truly we're going to go undefeated this year, we're going to lose to Brock, and we're going to win the district? I think that it's actually playing out kind of like they picture. Maybe the wins and losses aren't the same, but I think that you would have said, hey, all I want to see is improvement and people trying to get to the end. And I know you were talking about Baylor, and there's different kinds of 1-5s. If I was in Brock and I'm 1-5, I might be a little upset right now because of the expectation. Yep. But I think that our kids' effort and try, and that's what we need to focus on. I think that's exceeding expectations considering where they're at.
So, I have to walk a fine line.
I know you do. That's what makes this show fun. I went to Lubbock, as you know, had a wild time.
Not in the way that everyone's thinking about a wild time in Lubbock.
Yeah, it was tragic. But back to expectations and being a Longhorn fan. I have an expectation level of the Longhorns to beat teams they should and compete for a conference championship. So when they lost that game, I didn't drive all the way home from Lubbock a day later than I anticipated, talking about how much their effort level was, because I don't care what the Longhorns' effort level was, because they have an expectation of winning the conference. I'm saying you have to redefine. The Longhorns don't have a new staff. They don't have new coordinators. That was last year. I see you looking at me like, oh yeah, they do. But no, they really don't. It's just, I think you have to redefine your expectations for what you have. And for whatever reason, and I'm proud of the community, no one, and I'm not inviting that to change, but no one on anything that we have has said anything different.
Except that we should run the draw.
That was 2 weeks ago. That wasn't even this week. Yeah. That we should run the draw. Yes.
So if I'm trying to make sense of everything you're saying, and so I think what you're saying by the world that we live in, are you saying Pilot Point has become a participation trophy town?
No, and you're turning this argument into something, not that it's an argument, but I mean argument is what I'm presenting.
Married. We can argue.
Yes. But no, I mean, when I say argument, what I'm presenting to you, I'm saying that's, no, we're not, I hope we're not. But what was the expectation level? We haven't.
What's been the expectation level at Pilot Point for as long as you can remember?
It has been.
No, but what is? I'm asking. Define the expectation level of Pilot Point traditionally.
To make the playoffs was the bar. That was the lowest bar.
That's the minimum expectation.
That was.
Make the playoffs.
It was.
Okay.
But was that, but let me back up. When you have a completely new, and when I say staff in positions, so it's a new direction. Let's go back and look at that. I don't know if that was probably the expectation when Coach Moore came here, because it's Coach Moore. It was the expectation level with Jerry. I don't know that was the expectation level when Felt took over. It worked out, but I don't know if that was the expectation level when Best took over. And I don't know, you were actually a player on the team then. I don't know that it was the expectation level when Baca took over.
When Baca took over, and that was my senior year. There was no doubt that the expectation never changed. It was just, was he going to get in the way of us achieving it, which he did not.
But I'm not saying from the athletes. I happen to live with one, so I know his expectation level. He was not happy with the result Friday. But I'm saying as a community, and when you get older and you understand how things work, it was an unrealistic expectation of playoffs and winning in August for us to put that on these people. That's what I'm saying. I think we have to redefine our expectation level of what is the effort there. Are they improving? Which I go back to, they are. And it was.
Forgive me, I don't know. I've been a part of a lot of different football teams, a lot of different football programs, and a lot of different scenarios. I started at University High School in Waco. Our goal was to survive. That was the goal. Try to win football games, but more than anything else, just try to survive a football season without anything insane happening. At Houston Westside, the expectation was a deep playoff run. At Sanger, we were rebuilding under Coach Galbraith. In our first year of the rebuild, we went 7-3 with losses to Salina, Argyle, and Prosper, who two of them won state championships, and one of them lost to one of the others in the semis in that weird fourth round back to the district matchup deal. Era, God help us.
Well,
Collinsville was in the middle of Coach David's tenure there, so it wasn't a true rebuild.
So you're telling me the message on Thursday morning is going to be wins and losses and not effort, and we're improving? I mean, I know you're in the room and you are walking a fine line, but what was the message to the kids then?
The effort, it has to be effort. Because you, as a coach, you know the result of the previous game. You already know if it's a win or a loss. We know how the season's gone. So if you preach wins and losses to a 1-5 team, you're going to get a bunch of blank stares. So you have to talk effort level, because no matter win or loss, those kids played hard on Friday night.
That's what I'm saying.
But it should have been a win.
Yeah, but
see,
I'm
and that's
saying
that's the conundrum of it, and that's what you. It
seems that
if you're at a used car lot, you're not I can't sell you Ferraris, and so.
But that's why I'm saying it seems the community. If you look at what the community is saying, and love it or hate it, idle chatter is what seems to be the pulse of the community. They've recognized and are saying, hey, it's there. We're sorry the wins and losses aren't there, but you guys are doing all that you can.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. And that's the thing, is everybody's frustrated. There's no doubt about that. I would not say that anyone is currently happy with the win-loss record, but the good thing is that the kids seem to have blinders on to it and are giving great effort. Coaches are working their tails off, trying to put things in place to help the kids be successful.
I agree. And it seems like you think I'm preaching doom and gloom, and I'm saying, no, it's okay. I kind of want to hug you and be like, no, the community's saying,
don't do that.
That we appreciate all that you guys are doing with what you're stacked up against, and keep doing it.
Well, we will keep doing it. for either 10 games, anywhere from 10 to 16 games, wherever the.
Because when the effort level is there, which it was, and the wins will happen. Hopefully this week.
It'd be a great time to start a one-game win streak.
You have to start it with one. So I'm saying if all of that is there, we might get the win.
I think that needs to be the message, is that don't get caught up in 1 and 5. The most important thing is go 1-0.
Yeah. I mean, in some of the things, and I didn't want to come in here this week and be the same. Some of the things reared their ugly heads again. We're 6 weeks in a row now with the special teams mistake that is big. And, I mean, we gave up some big plays in the defense, but not as many. So, I mean, there's improvement there. The offense, while different, we scored more points than we had all year.
Yeah.
I think we're close.
You can sense it, and the biggest thing is the kids. The loss really affected them. Not that the other 4 didn't. But
Yeah,
that
because
one
I
hurt.
think they felt like they should have won it.
Well, we let them off the hook, and that's a collective we. That's not, we the kids or we the coaches. That's a collective. We let them off the hook, and so. I don't know. The biggest thing, like I said, is going 1-0. And when you think about going 1-0, I think you have to look at it very micro to start and expand to macro as you go. And the first thing is you win a play. Win the first play of the game. And then win the next play. And then win that drive. And then win the next drive. And then win that quarter. Then win the next quarter, and then
stack small wins on top of
Stack small wins on top of each other. Have some success. Build on that success. And if you make it incremental, and you know this because of your competitive running, which you could still do if the track was open.
It's all y'all's fault.
I was just going to beat you to it.
That the coaching and ISD take 100% of the blame for is my poor conditioning due to y'all locking out the community.
But
which, if y'all want to comment on something on Idle Chatter, let's get back to that track being closed. Let's talk about that.
We still have a few weeks before that becomes a hot topic. But from what's the longest you could be? You did an ultra, didn't you?
I've ran 50 miles 3 times.
50 miles 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Did you stand at the finish line and think about 50 miles, or did you stand at the start line and think about, I'm going to get through that first mile at about this pace, and then I'm going to worry about number 2. What was your mindset there?
Oh, here you go, getting me to throw out cliches now. It's relentless forward progress. It's just
trudging forward.
Just keep moving, and eventually you'll get to an aid station. Then from there you can get to the next one, and
so it's small wins.
Sometime there will be a finish line.
Once you make it through that first 5 miles, it's like, okay,
it's 50 small wins. Let's call it that.
Yeah, and so that's the way you have to approach a team that is on a 5-game slide. Is you get small wins, and the first thing needs to be, we need to be up 3-0, 2-0, 6-0, 7-0, 8-0. Those are all of the possible combinations of how we can be in the lead.
I like that.
That's the first thing. And then the next thing is whatever that next score is, if it's adding 2, 3, 6, 7, or 8, that's the next thing you do. And then in between those times that you're adding scores, you try to keep them off thing. And say they bust a big play, which they will, and they get to the 2-yard line. How can we keep them to only a field goal? And that becomes the mindset.
Which I think we're at. That's what I'm coming from, and I'm doing, I guess, a terrible job of opening this. Is those people listening? We fought that, and we should be celebrated for that Friday. We were down. We fought to get back ahead. We never even gave up on that game, even when we were down by 2 touchdowns there at the end. We're still driving.
Yeah,
trying to win a game that honestly couldn't be won because there's less than a minute left and we're down by 2 touchdowns. But we didn't take a knee. The fight is there.
Yeah. And you can see it. You can see it on the kids' faces. That game was different.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's that they believed that we had a chance to win, and maybe the previous week against Whitesboro, they said, oh, we don't have a chance because that's how good they are, which we'll find out a whole lot about Whitesboro this week. I think they have Brock.
Yeah, and another opponent, common opponent with all of us, Bells plays Gunner. So, and all four of those teams have played each other.
Had a little round robin.
Yeah, so Diggs will be all excited because
Brock and Whitesboro, that game matters, being a district game and also in our division. But just to clarify, those Gunner and Bells, we will never play them again.
No, I'm just thinking as a football fan.
Yeah, they're the lower division. But Diggs will be excited, almost excited. Maybe he gets about Tolar or Celeste.
Well, he gets to. What is the word he uses to where he gauges the teams against each other? Not synchronize. I don't know. Listen to the 4-3A report. Probably going to come out tomorrow. That being Wednesday. And you can hear him use the word that I can't
It's not
think
prognosticate.
Of right now.
He likes that.
No, that's Nolan Ruth. He's the Parker County prognosticator. Yeah. That's different.
But, with the Cats, I think, Wyatt was an effective runner for us. Defensively, Cooper Locke, I think this was his first time to lead the team in tackles.
It is, and I think Wyatt, he was on defense this week and immediately made an impact.
Interception.
Yes.
And so...
you can't be as smart as that guy is with his football mind and not get in there and make a difference like that.
Yeah, and...
he had a pick six last year, if you'll remember.
Against Gunner?
Gunner.
Yeah. And, so I thought the receiving core was up and down. I think the drop passes plagued us again. We've had some key drops over the course of the last few weeks. I think in my mind there were, one touchdown. No, he went down to the one, came off the board due to holding. And then I think there were two potential touchdowns that were just dropped. One of them on a big play, and the other one, obviously a big play. But I know that you hate to talk about Aston because you don't want to, say good things about him on the show because he's your son. But I'll say it is he had a heck of a game. He did really well. He played well on both sides of the ball. It was nice to see. A consistent connection between receiver and quarterback work out.
Well, I think we put it all together for a game, minus, like I said, a few things, some holding calls. We put a whole package together, which is, again, why I'm so excited about the future, which may not be this year, but the try and the effort and all of that's there. We put a whole game together. The receiving was there, which allowed Gage to do more with less, meaning carries. We weren't relying on the Iron Man to carry us. It almost fit together. So close.
Yeah, and there's been a little movement that people might or might not notice on Friday, but I think it will help us offensively, and that's intentionally vague.
Oh, there was movement this week that I noticed. Our center was in a new position, and we had a new center.
We're all centers, Chance. Don't just spotlight one person.
Well, yeah. And I think that Paradise, and I know that you guys would have to work on those and focus on those. There's no question they're scouting us and watching our film. They were doing jumping jacks on defense, trying to make us jump, which...
It seems insane to me that while the other team is on the ball, prepared to snap the ball, that you would do a jumping jack on the 1 yard line.
Which...
Seems counterintuitive.
To me, and I know I'm not a coach and can't question your great offensive mind, but you would go super fast at that time because it would seem to me you could really fire off the ball while they're in the air doing their jumping jack.
That was the first time we had seen the jumping jack.
Yeah, but they were also doing rolls. And they did a lot of things, which obviously they're scouting us to try to make us jump, which we did a good job. Back to improvement.
Yeah, because Whitesboro, that whole shift thing really it bit us.
Yeah, and so that's back to that you have to celebrate this team and the steps that they're making and the improvements that are being done and the try, again, because if someone's doing jumping jacks in front of me, it's difficult to not move, and we're making progress there. I mean, the signs are there.
Maybe Ronnie had his eyes closed.
Whatever did it, it worked. One guy I'm not going to call out, he still jumped on one of those plays, and he didn't get called.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, officials. Maybe it's the burgers that the Booster Club provides.
Maybe. I saw you taking a selfie with one of the officials, which was totally out of character.
I did not take a selfie.
No, you took a picture of the ref with another guy.
With his dad.
With his phone.
Yeah, he gave me his phone so I could take a picture of him and his dad.
Of all the people that I would thought would never see doing that.
Never mind. So basically, if we put the bell curve on the Bearcats, and we're looking at the bell curve, would you say we are trending up?
I say yes. That's how I opened this whole thing, and that's my whole point of this cast. That if you look at this like you should, you're seeing everything that you need to see. You're seeing improvement. I don't want to say you should have been happy on Saturday or Sunday, because I know people, the most important indicator of a success of a team is a win, but we're winning everywhere else.
I agree. I mean, just to not leave that dangling there, I absolutely agree.
I see. It's weird. We've got reversed roles almost today, and
yeah,
it's
I'm
like
questioning you.
It's like that you like to let me hang out there with awkward silence.
Yeah,
for change.
I'm questioning you. Now, with that being said, I think we kind of. I feel like I feel like this is the watershed game.
Oh, I agree.
Namely,
it's the watershed game for the playoffs.
We have now entered the playoffs. We are currently in the playoffs.
In Pilot Point.
Because it is just about to the point where if we lose on Friday night, we are now in the mathematical stuff.
Where things have to happen.
Things have to happen. You know, if we beat, Boyd, we have to beat him by 14, and Peaster has to lose to somebody by 12, and
before we just marry us to that and what you guys like to call a clean slate there. What still could mess this up is Boyd beats Paradise.
Yes. If it goes back to what we've always said, is the teams that beat you
need to win out.
They need to win out,
or
beat each other.
Two teams that beat you, they can beat each other.
Paradise and Whitesboro, I don't really care what happens with them.
Yeah. Or Paradise, yeah.
Yeah, because we're 0-2 versus those two teams.
But
so
the
that
teams
game
we're
is
butting
meaningless.
Heads with need to also lose to the teams that beat us.
So, we need Whitesboro to take care of business against Boyd, Peaster, and Ponder.
Yes.
And Brock. Because, right now, I guess Brock is ahead of us in the district standings. Because they are 2-0. I think so. I don't think they started with the bye.
Brock?
Yeah.
They're 2-0. They beat Peaster and Boyd.
So, they are ahead of us in the standings. But we don't have a head-to-head game yet. So, you look at it, and we just need the teams that have already beat us take care of business against the teams that are below us. And if they do, and we take care of business, we're in.
In control of our own destiny, so to speak.
Yes, like I said, there's still a weird possibility where 3 wins wouldn't get us in, but that is, man... it's its own show if we were going to talk about that, because it literally turns into a whole bunch of weird scenarios.
Yes, but Iglesias could twist his ankle next week walking out in the parking lot, and then and Iglesias is the quarterback for Paradise. You heard his name a whole lot if you were at the game. Yes, he's a catastrophic, or Paradise is a catastrophic Iglesias injury away from being irrelevant. Yeah.
Sorry, Paradise.
Well,
the same thing for us with 5.
Sorry to Pilot Point.
Yeah,
because then that's going to hurt us as well.
So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm excited about the game on Friday. You're going to see an interesting brand of football from Ponder, which will be. They like the up-tempo, snap it really, really, really fast stuff, and they really enjoy to throw the football a lot. Their quarterback's pretty good. They have 2 receivers that are pretty good. This will probably be the best throwing quarterback that we have seen to date. I say that Mac Harper at Whitesboro. No, he will be the second base. Mac Harper is the best quarterback we've faced as a thrower to date, and I think Mac is a little bit plus to the Cooper kid at Ponder. But the 2 receivers are 2 pretty solid receivers, number 2, number 10, and then.
But that goes back to where the improvement that I'm glad that we're seeing, and I think that we need to celebrate that because we're turning things around. The big plays that we gave up against Paradise, from my untrained eye, were busted plays. That was due to Iglesias continuing to move and those guys finding ways to get open.
Yeah, there was one of those, and there was a little confusion on a coverage. We had mixed signals. Not literally mixed signals, but 10 players were on one plan and 1 player was on a different plan. And he left a receiver running wide open, which happens.
Yeah.
And a good offense is able to take advantage of that if, for instance, if you're running a run play and the corner is in the wrong coverage, it really doesn't hurt you. So it's not on the offense.
Where I felt like in Whitesboro, they were beating us in the passes. That's where I'm getting at, that the improvement's there. I mean, and it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, we need
to put it all together.
We need to keep improving. And then, no offense to Ponder, the quality of the opponent is going to help. And, Ponder put up some huge numbers early. And they've come back down to reality a little bit now that, they started playing. They played Paradise and lost 64-14.
Yeah.
So you start looking at a common opponent, and then logic starts going, and that doesn't always match up because of schemes, but it shows what the logic shows is that we are at least a competitive equal to Ponder.
Texas football will have us picked to win, probably. I haven't looked.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and say that they probably predict us to win that game.
I expect to.
Well, I hope that you expect to.
Well, no, I mean, I do. I think the formula is there. The hay's in the barn, so to speak.
I just want to continue to see this improvement.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick break to recognize CS Designs, and then when we come back, we'll finish up.
We'll talk about the cast too. Are you looking to build that dream home or barn-dough? CS Designs offers a complete range of design services. CS Designs products range from general drawing services to commercial and residential blueprints, as well as 3D renderings and virtual reality walkthroughs. Let Cole Stewart and the CS Design team design you a beautiful progressive home or building that translates your ideas into an outstanding reality. Visit their website at csdesignstx.com or give them a call at 940-365-4048.
Welcome back, and big thank you to CS Designs for sponsoring the post-game show. So the cast, obviously, I don't know what happened because I was kind of involved in a football game.
Okay, can I take over?
The floor is yours.
I don't know what happened either, but that is not an excuse, because we have been doing this long enough that we need to deliver the best product for the fans that want to watch that game, period. So I do not take solace in we never lost the audio. It needs to be the best product we can deliver every week. So the steps that we're taking to fix that is we are tearing everything down and rebuilding it from scratch. So hopefully Friday night the package is complete. It seems like every year something sneaks up on us and gets us with something that we don't know, and we have no idea. But you know what? Like I said, we're not going to spend any time trying to figure out what happened. We're just going to start from scratch, rebuild, and focus on making a bigger, better product.
Well, for our home broadcast, we have thank you to Pilot Point ISD for providing a fiber internet connection.
Yes.
And so the speeds, the upload and download speeds, are high enough that we wanted to try to go 4K.
Yes.
And so we had purchased the equipment to go 4K, and more than likely, I had used an old presentation that was not 4K, or there was probably some box that wasn't checked that needed to be checked, and I didn't do it. And so that will be fixed. That's the biggest thing, is that will be fixed, because
coming from pilotpointbearcats.com, which you're a part, don't get me wrong, but it bothers me to my core. That is all inexcusable. That's stuff that we should have resolved. That's on us. We should have resolved our problems prior and not allow it to crash during the most important time, which at least it was the first quarter. But it's all on us. We take 100% responsibility. We owe that to our sponsors, and we owe that to our fans to present the best product and give as big of effort as we can. Now, if you did miss the Wyatt touchdown, we have not one but 2 sideline cameras that record it for later, and we'll have those touchdowns out this week for those of you and Wyatt's family that missed that. But all I can say is I'm sorry, and we'll do better, because Pilot Point deserves better.
Well, and I know one very frustrated person was my dad.
Yeah, and that's not even his portion of that. He's the sound guy, and we never lost the sound. Video's on me and you.
Yeah, and so in full transparency, tomorrow night, whenever I sit down with the Bearcats.com laptop, it will be a full rebuild of the presentation. And those of you that subscribe out there may want to subscribe, because we might need to sneak in might be a little Thursday night action.
Might be a subscriber only practice session to ensure that you're going to get a high quality game that you deserve on Friday night.
And we love to use the junior high, those Thursday nighters, as our guinea pigs on trying new things. So we're going to retry 4K, and you'll get the notification if you're a subscriber whenever we go live, and you can watch the 7th grade.
You can watch whatever we're casting.
Yeah, it might be 7th grade, might be 8th grade.
It might be half of 7th and half of 8th. But if we're casting and you're a subscriber, you're going to know. Yeah. And that's in an effort to get it right, because as much as I would love to blame something else, it is nobody's fault but ours, and the fans deserve better. So we will get it corrected. We will own it.
And it will be better.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt about that.
There is no bigger critic than us.
I can absolutely promise you that. I enjoy hearing about it all post-game, everything that needs to be done better. There's never a time where I think we say, gosh, that was perfect. I think there's always something that we feel like we can improve on.
I've never closed a cast thinking that. I'm irritated. Now, the list, it's becoming more pinpoint focus, let's say.
Yeah,
when we started, it was big problems, and now we're fine-tuning.
And we'll continue to.
That's right. We're a championship broadcast team, and by golly, we're going to continue to be.
Well, it is our pleasure to bring the Bearcats into living rooms worldwide.
That's right.
Because we have noticed a international appeal of the Bearcats. And
for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they read right to left, and we're a 5-1 team.
Yeah.
Hats off to them.
Yeah.
But in any case, we sure appreciate that y'all's continued support of the Bearcats and of everything we do at Bearcat Insider and PilotPointBearcats.com. And we want to thank all the sponsors, specifically CS Designs for this post-game show, but all of the sponsors that make the webcast available to the general public.
It does not happen without them, because this is completely funded by advertiser dollars.
And as always, go Bearcats.